Hi, welcome to Tea Time. I'm Ashley Adamson. This is unedited and unscripted, and today we're going to talk about coming out at work. Now, I've probably come out 3 times, and I'm actually going to come out a 4th, which I'll explain shortly. But I've done this enough times to kind of know a little bit about the process and what's a good way of doing things. I haven't really done things poorly, so can't speak to all the things that go wrong. But before I get into that, I just wanted to thank everyone for suggesting topics and commenting on these videos the past few weeks. This has been an experiment, and so far it's just been so uplifting. So it's been really nice to interact with you, read the essays, the comments that you guys are sharing with your stories, and hearing your thoughts on things. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning so much with you, and so I just really so appreciate that. Also, I injected estrogen today. Yay! I don't know about you, but if you are taking hormones, doesn't it feel like a celebration to take your hormones? Don't you want to share that with the whole world? It's so validating. I had this little flip of my perspective with myself today because I said, wait a second, I'm not a man transitioning. I am a woman who needs to take this because this is what she needs. It's a medical condition. And that little flip of this script that I wasn't even conscious was going on in my own ritual of taking estrogen really helped me reposition myself in my own feminine body and feeling more accepting and seeing myself as I should be. So that's just a little way of flipping a script. I'd love to hear from you about how you've flipped your script with yourself and ways that you've learned to work through this. It would be kind of interesting. So yeah, that's mine. Coming out at work. This is a scary thing. How are you feeling about it? There's a lot on the table when you come out at work, right? Because it's your job, it's your source of income. You have rapport, you have working relationships. You don't want to have that become a conflict or anything like that. So yeah, there's a lot involved, right? So when thinking about this, I think it's important to do a couple things. So first of all, the first thing is do some scanning to figure out if this is going to be the right thing for you at the right company. Most companies, it's going to be fine, 95%, but some companies you might find are a little transphobic, or you might find that there's specific people that are a little transphobic. So make sure that you work around those variables by finding out whether that's just in conversation or just saying something like, oh, I read today about so-and-so. What's your take on that? And hopefully they'll say something like, well, they can be whoever they want. I think it's great. That's the best case scenario, right? So that's the first thing, is getting a feel for where there could potentially be conflicts. The second thing is finding allies, because it's not really about coming out. It's really after you've come out, the work that you need to put in. So finding people that are going to be supportive of your cause. Obviously, HR is going to be supportive because that's what they're supposed to do. But, you want to keep an eye on that because you can't completely trust HR. I would never trust HR with everything. Their job is not to help you and make you happy. It's to make sure to protect the business. And so you just have to understand you need to manage your own expectations and how you communicate with HR. But in general, HR is going to be really, really helpful. The second thing is, communicating to HR, communicating to allies, and communicating to your manager, because your manager is the person that's really going to have the best understanding of your story with you if you have a manager. Because your manager is going to understand what you're going through. And so if you're having a hard time with work as you're transitioning, which is a separate topic I should cover, but transitioning while at work, it's kind of, you're shifting personalities and personas, because you're shifting within your own personality of what you feel is right and what you're discovered in yourself, but you're also shifting in how you express your ideas in a business context, and also how people are treating you. And so it can get a little all over the place. It's a little overwhelming. And I found it difficult, but not impossible to transition while I was at a company in San Francisco. I was at a fast-moving startup. We had to do a lot of things very quickly, and I transitioned as quick as I could to kind of keep moving with the company. but yeah, keeping your manager in the loop as you transition is going to be super key to having them give you support when you need it. Like, hey, maybe you need to take some time off because it looks like you're going through a lot, or just to be like an advocate or on your defense if something's not going well. So that's, important thing. And how to come out to them. I would say come out to these people one-on-one. That's the best way, because you can really read, you can engage, and you can answer any questions or concerns or anything they want to bring up. So the way that I've done it is sort of like, hey, you want to get some coffee? I'd love to catch up with you. I got some things I'd like to share and see what you thought, get your feedback on something. Like, oh yeah, cool, great, yeah. And then you get coffee and you say, hey, so I've been going through some changes and I wanted to share this with you because, we work together and I want us to keep working together great. And I really appreciate working with you. But there's something about me which I need to kind of like share, which is that I've discovered that I'm trans, and I just need to just let you know that, and my pronouns are now she, her, and that's what I'm going to move forward on. And they might be like, oh, okay, cool, totally supportive, or they may be like, oh, like, I have questions about that. What's happening there? Feel free to just be as transparent as you want, or if there's any questions that you're uncomfortable asking, just say it. Next thing is pronouns. Oh my God. Pronouns. This takes a while, so be patient. This is probably the most important thing, is how you treat others as you're going through your transition, because they are either going to support you, be indifferent, or actually be opposition. And you want everyone to be on your side. And the best way to do that is to not introduce conflict in this transition. So being patient is super important, because people are being asked to change based on your timing. They may not be in a space where they are ready to want to change, or they're stressed out about something else. So introducing more changes, more variables. So just keep this in mind. Being patient with pronouns and naming is really important to success, because this is about the long game. It's not about a short-term win. It's about the long game. So if they're misgendering you, just interrupt them and say, hey, by the way, I go by she, her, or I use she, her now. And you can also like tell them in person and say, hey, can you also help correct other people if they're talking about me when I'm not there, because this is a thing that I need to kind of spread across the company. So that's super important. So in a meeting, for example, someone would be like, oh, he said this and that and that. And I would just say, oh, I use she, her, by the way. It's like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no worries. I also say things like, hey, and if it's okay, I'll correct you, and that's totally fine if you mess up, and I'm here to just like, keep advocating for myself. And so it's okay if you mess up, but is it okay if I correct you and just remind you? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. So that kind of communication is great. If you've transitioned at work, how have things gone for you? Did it go well? What kind of things did you realize like worked really, really well for you? Yeah, so the pronouns thing is really important. And I think the last thing is kind of a weird topic, but kind of adhering to cis society. This is stupid because we should not have to adhere in any shape or form. But if you want to make your life easier, sometimes it's good to go with the stream rather than against it. One has to pick their battles, and not every battle needs to be fought. My product manager says this sometimes, not necessarily about my transition or anything, but he's like, is this the hill we want to die on, or do we want to fight another battle? And I think that's really important to remember. Is this is kind of hard to hear, but you're not the center of the universe. You're the center of your universe. You're not the center of the universe. Everyone has their own center. And so sometimes if people get caught up in things, it's just because it's their worldview and their universe that they're having conflict over. It's not about you. It's about them. So knowing when to step back and say, you know what? I don't need to die on this hill today. I can win the war. I'll just step back from the battle. That's probably the best thing. And yeah, so I guess that's it for today. Thanks for suggesting the topic. I'm And yeah, suggest me more topics. I'm happy to cover them. I think it was Brianna who suggested this one. I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Also, thanks for noticing on Saturday that I was like super tired. I'm definitely not doing this on the weekends anymore. It's a little exhausting, so I'm just going to post videos during the week. I'd love to hear from you as always, and I hope you have a wonderful day on this Monday. Bye.